Hi, and welcome to the Shade Tree Garage. I'm going to offer a product review of a product that until recently had been only a legend in my mind, a product called Kroil penetrating oil. Now, I heard so many stories of Kroil that it truly was a legend and had cult status. I had mechanics who wouldn't even let me hold the can. It was that valuable to them. And I heard what all the marvelous properties it had. And, as a teenager, a young up and coming do it yourselfer, my thoughts were, yeah, right, it's great, yeah, blah, blah. So's WD-40, so's liquid wrench, so's everything else. But anyway, earlier this year, I did a roundup of tools. I had a lot of my tools have been scattered around our farm. And I had tools laying here and there. And some of them, my pneumatic tools, I was able to rehab successfully. But some tools, some hand tools, I was not so successful with. These were frozen in this position. You couldn't budge them. And so beginning earlier this year, I dedicated a small drawer in my Craftsman toolbox to all of my frozen hand tools. And I left them there, and then periodically I would apply a lubricant to try to break through all the rust and corrosion. And the first thing I tried was 3-in-1 oil. 3-in-1 oil is not a penetrating oil, and I know that, but it wouldn't hurt. But it didn't do any good. Next, I tried WD-40. Well, WD-40 is not the ideal penetrating oil either. Again, worth a shot. And then I tried Lucas penetrating oil. No difference. Liquid wrench. Liquid wrench has always been a go-to for me when I've had lug nuts that are, stubborn, any other fastener that's rusty and stubborn. And it's worked pretty well. And also PB Blaster. PB Blaster has been effective for me as well. And I'm sure you have some of these same products on your shelf in your garage. But nothing helped free up these tools. They were rusted tight. So I was browsing Amazon looking for other penetrating oils when I found Kroil for sale in various quantities. They have it as an aerosol and also as a liquid in a can. Now, I hate aerosol spray oils in the shop. And in fact, when I was applying WD-40 and PB Blaster, I would take the tools outside to spray them. I didn't want to have that mist of oil and lubricant flying around in my shop, since I will be doing some painting in here later this year. But so nothing had worked up to this point, and I bought this 8-ounce can of Kroil, and it was better than $16 for the can. So it has a reputation for being expensive, and is. So the Kroil, I applied Kroil several times to all the tools and left them in the drawer to sit. And I probably made 2 or 3 applications on each tool over a period of 2 or 3 weeks. Well, finally I got them out and got them all out on the bench. And these were the first, these rusty things, these diagonal cutters. And so I picked them up and I was ready to give them the big, and they just closed perfectly like they were brand new ones. And I was like, holy smoke, they actually work again. And so that day I tried my little tiny cutters. These are for cutting like with electronics where you need to get in someplace without cutting 18 wires, you can get down to 1. And my other large diagonal cutters, I had 2 6-inch crescent wrenches frozen solid. I couldn't, and I beat on them and did everything I could. But it wasn't until I applied Kroil that I got any movement out of them. Now they both work like new. Pretty amazing. Now, you could suppose that all those lubricants I tried before helped. They may have loosened, broken through some rust, They may have, but Kroil is the only one that actually got the things loose. And I've had some other successes. I got a pair of vice grips that were rusted almost beyond recognition. And it took some time and several applications, but I got those freed up. Also, got a C-clamp I'm working on now. And this C-clamp has some history to it. Back when I first began changing brake pads on the fronts of cars with disc brakes, I didn't have an actual tool to push the pistons back in the caliper. I had to use a C-clamp. And this C-clamp fit just about every Chrysler product that we had between me and my siblings and my dad. So this C-clamp has some history. It is rusted. The threads on the adjustable part are rusted all to get out. And so, but I'm confident that Kroil will bring it back to its former glory. At least so it'll turn. Now, you don't need a C-clamp very often, but when you want one, I'd rather have one that I'm, something from the from the old days. Anyway, I'm on the prowl. I'm looking for rusted tools to rehab. Now I could give you, I may have more success stories as I, look for rusted tools. And again, this may be because of all the products I used in advance. This isn't a very scientific review, but it's real world, the real world experience for me and Kroil. Now I will tell you, if you want to see a more scientific approach, there's a YouTuber called Cars in Toys, and that's all one word, cars with an N and then toys. And he has a really good YouTube video. He's up in the Northeast, and he has to deal with rusted fasteners all the time from corrosion from salt on the roads. And so he set up a test. He took good-sized nuts and bolts, put them in a rock salt water bath for several months. Then he took them out and he set them outside in the weather for 2 years. And then he brought them in and put the head of the bolt in a vise, and then used a torque wrench, or it's a torque reading device that determines the torque it took to break a fastener loose. And so he had one was the test, a rusted bolt that had no lubrication on it. And then he gave the other four, let's see, I think he used PB Blaster. Let's see, what are the other ones he used? He used four different lubricants, WD-40, PB Blaster, liquid wrench aerosol. And the final product he used was now this, I always thought this was a wives' tale, but apparently not. A 50-50 mixture of acetone and ATF, automatic transmission fluid. And now how he ran his test, he sprayed each nut and bolt when it was in the vise a couple of times, made a couple of applications and let it set for a while for it to soak in. Then he put his socket on with the torque reading device and broke it free, and then recorded how much torque it took to break it free. Well, I don't think WD-40 did much of anything. But from WD-40 to PB Blaster, liquid wrench, according to his test, it took less torque as you went down the line. Well, then the last formulation he had to try was the ATF/acetone mixture. Well, that won his test. That mixture allowed him to break that bolt loose with precious little torque. It just came loose. Now, this could be because of we're not sure how that each bolt was rusted uniformly. I mean, there's lots of variables here, but it's an interesting test, and I suggest you go find it. I will dig up the link and put it in the description below. All right, well, that's it for my my fascination and experience with Kroil. It's a heck of a product. It's still at work over on my other bench, getting through the rust on several tools. And I probably won't do another video about it, but I can tell you Kroil is everything it's cracked up to be. All right, until next time, we'll be back in the Shade Tree Garage working on the Plymouth, and I'll have some video from that. All right, have a great week, and we'll see you next time here in the Shade Tree Garage.